Okay, good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. We have a couple things going on today. First and foremost, I know that I've been away for a little bit, and that is okay because honestly, I had to slow down for a second. There was a lot of different moving pieces, and I was just like, let me just chill. Let me just chill for a bit. And that might be like, whoa, but it happens. So, what is going on here? Oh man, sometimes stuff is interesting. And why is that? So right now to show you, I just wanted to do the webcam today and it's kind of like hopping in and out a little bit on focus. So that's a little crazy, but I'm going to check and see how things are looking right now online here because it's like it is what it is. It's just one of those things. But this has been a pretty good week. I think overall, I'm going to just kind of stick more with pop when it comes to things today like that. I know that there's a lot of things that kind of go on in the world, but today I'm just going to kind of keep it positive, stick to some of the good things that are going on. And I think if this thing keeps going back and forth in and out of focus, we'll figure that out from there. Um, yeah, but I mean, let's say another historic moment. We had Carol G head up Coachella, which was pretty nice. I mean, realistically, what she said was very interesting and very on point too. The fact that there have been numerous and very talented Latin artists, and this is like the first, female headlining Latin artist at Coachella, which is pretty crazy. And then I kind of sat back and I thought of a couple of other ones that could have easily been on the list beforehand. But she's had an amazing and incredible year too. So I just kind of wanted to give a full shout out to that because honestly, between February and now, with performers that are coming out and just kind of killing it and doing their own thing and making their own marks and doing their own staple, she's right up there. And, we do see a lot of new artists still coming up, and she's not, while she was the headliner in the main event, there was a lot of other performers that came out and just kind of did their thing and that you're kind of happy to see them do this and you're like, oh man, look, you're up there. Oh yeah, you made it. Like Coachella's huge and you get to see everybody go out and they got like, their outfits, they're set, they're going out there, and it truly is just like a giant party. That's what Coachella is. I mean, there's really no other way of describing it. But really seeing the talented artists go out and perform is one of those major moments that I think everybody could really appreciate. You get to shine, you get to see your talent, you get to see that peak, you get to see that hit that kind of happen. With her, it was such versatility. I think being able to see like her bring out like Becky, I thought that was really cool. I think both of them just kind of coming out on stage and just having that presence was nice. The whole female mariachi band, that was cool too. And then, obviously just overall performances. So there's more that I want to go back and just kind of watch, and just kind of because you always see the highlights, but I do want to see the whole thing. And then, on a different kind of completely segue from that is the boys. The boys has been a very, very, very interesting Amazon series. Very. From the moment they started, now I was a little late to it, cards on the table. My wife was already kind of like watching it. She was already watching the boys. And I was like, what the heck is going on? And all this other stuff. And, opening scenes, opening shows, you see A Train, you see kind of what's going on. And it does kind of paint a good twist when it comes to superhero shows because usually you see a superhero show, you see like, oh, it's good, it's this guy, and that's kind of how it always breaks down. And everybody's always saved. There's not really like that underbelly of things. But when it comes to the boys, it's really kind of like, hey, that what if, and it plays like almost what it does, it's a dark real world um, kind of superhero show. And so watching this latest season, now to be cards on the table, I didn't watch like the spin-off series that was going on. The what is it? Gen V? I didn't watch Gen V. I didn't really jump into it. I think it was more time. I like the main course. I like the main show. I like everything that's going on. I know that those factors kind of add into it, much like a Marvel show kind of adds into it. But I'm sitting over here watching this show, and I was just kind of like, their writers were right on point. you know, it's eerie the way things kind of align with what's happening, you know? But you're watching it and you're like, man, were these guys that much on point. They're like, okay, there's that. One of my favorite characters, even though a lot of people will be like, oh my God, it's, obviously I'm a Captain America fan. So Soldier Boy is definitely one of my favorite characters. And I'm curious to see how they're going to end this, how they're going to end this series, how they're going to do it when it comes to certain things like, obviously for those who read the comics, you could just read the comics and they'll kind of give you an idea of how things would end. Not to say that the show's going to go like that, but you could just look it up and you could be like, oh, this ends like this or this ends like this. And you could just kind of run through it. You don't have to break your head on it. Personally, the way that I think it's going to end is I don't think they're going to take out Homelander. I'm just going to say that right now. I don't think that's what's going to happen on the show. What I think's going to happen is he's going to end up losing his power. I think that's going to happen. I do think Soldier Boy himself is going to live. I think that's part of it. He might be frozen again. He might be, locked away again. That might happen. We've seen it before. But I do think that Homelander is going to live. I think what they're going to really do is just kind of remove his power. And I think that's really fitting. And I think that's something that kind of like would tie in better with the series because it's like what's what's harder to do? You know what I'm saying? Is it harder the fact that like, oh, you took him out? Or is it one of those things where it's kind of like, you know what? It's not so much taking him out. It's more so the fact that like now you're regular. Now you're just basic. Now anybody could one hit you, you know. Um, I think we're probably going to see the end of Butcher. I don't think Butcher clears out of it. There's no way that he does all of this stuff and then all of a sudden still just makes it. So I think we see the end of Butcher. Um, and somebody who's kind of survived and scaled away all this time still and still running is the Deep. I was surprised by the Deep. I'm surprised that hey, what's going on, Jack? I was surprised that the Deep has made it this far. When you think of all the other like heroes and stuff that kind of go on in the boys, it's like how did you make it here? Like compared to like Translucent and A Train and Noir and all this other stuff jumping into it. What's going on, Jack? I'm not sure if you watch the boys, but it's just one of those things that I'm seeing it and I'm like, dude. And I know that he what's it called? He kind of just buckles whenever challenged, whenever something happens. But I'm just kind of like, dude, how did you still make it past? Like the writers must have a soft spot for the Deep. Like that's really what it is. The writers have to have a soft spot. There's no other. This dude should have been taken out. Like if he's one of those people that at the end still is around, I'm gonna be extremely like shocked. And all of a sudden he's like the head of the seven. That'd be kind of like a twist. That'd be a twist. I can easily say that'd be a twist. So there's other shows that I'm watching. I'm watching like Daredevil. Um, Daredevil, I just, we started the most recent episode. I'm off by one, so no spoilers on that one. But Daredevil, and I'm doing my best, actually, just full cards on the table. I'm doing my best to not spoil anything on it because honestly, if you haven't seen it, Daredevil's did really good. I know that people were on the fence of it because of it, like signing to Disney and the heaviness that was going on with Netflix. But I'm watching it and I'm like, no, you were able to kind of balance the violence and the kicks the right way, which is pretty cool. I know that normally I jump on and I'll talk about something a little bit different or speak about business and all this other stuff. But honestly, it's a Friday. The weather finally broke and I just felt like chilling. As you can see, I plugged in the webcam and I'm like, hey, let's just kind of have a good vibe and have a good day. You know, I still got a couple things to do, but that's neither here nor there for today. Right now, it's just kind of like just wanted to chill with you guys, just to say what's up, see how you guys are doing, see what's going on with the weekend, see how you guys' plans are doing, and then afterwards, eventually, I have to do stuff as always. There's always creative things to do, but it's a Friday. I've also been doing that. So Daredevil, let's circle back to that real quick. Now, Daredevil in previous seasons, I could talk about this without spoiling. You see, like I think the guy's name is the Swordman. So you see him, and he kind of like shows some of his talent. You actually see him get a little bit, but you see him more in this, which is interesting because he makes an appearance in Hawkeye. So like people who kind of follow the Marvel universe, you can see like one, two, three kind of come and appear, which is pretty nice. Now we all know that no spoilers or anything like this because this has already been leaked to any Disney fan or Marvel fan or whatever, that they're going to be bringing everybody together to do the Defenders again. They're going to do a second season of the Defenders. The first one, you know, I for everything that Iron Fist was, because that's where people go. Like they immediately go to Iron Fist. You know, you do have to remember that there was Jessica Jones, there was Luke Cage, there was Daredevil, the idea of the hand. I thought it did really well, not for nothing. I don't see it needing to do like a whole movie for the Defenders, like a Guardians of the Galaxy kind of situation. But, you know, when it came to Daredevil tying all these characters together, there are some things that people would still like to see because this Daredevil, no offense to Ben Affleck, but this Daredevil is actually pretty cool. And he kind of captures the right vibe. You often see him get beat up and hurt and all this other stuff, and he has to recover. It's not like he's like has super strength or anything like that. It is one of those things where he does get hurt. Things do happen like that. And you get to see the crossover between people like, you know, Frank Castle, the Punisher. You get to see the crossover that we would like to see because they did show it to us in the movie, which was Spider Man. Because in the comic books, you do kind of get that. You do get that Spider Man, Daredevil kind of collaboration that we haven't seen yet in movies. So, I mean, are they hinting at that? Are they going to pull it together? Will Tom Holland make an appearance? It would be nice. Is it going to happen? Probably not. And not for the fault of Disney or Marvel. I think it's really more because of still contracting issues with Sony and who could use like Spider Man and what he could do. So, I mean, if you're a diehard fan about it and you're kind of like, hey, you know, I would really love to see it, our closest thing that we probably got was from that last Spider Man movie. I think it's No Way Home. Might have been, yeah, no, Far From Home. Far From Home. I think that's the one where it just happens. But, you know, it would be cool to see. I mean, I would definitely love to see a Daredevil Spider Man film. I do like the fact that you do see Frank Castle running around in the new Spider Man movie. I thought that was on point. Because oftentimes, whenever you're watching any of these superhero shows, you got to ask people and be like, where are they? What were they doing that, like, they didn't do this or they weren't here for that? Like, what were they doing during this whole scenario? Like, you could tie in the defenders and say, what were the defenders doing during this whole Thanos situation? Not to go too comic booky, but like, where were they? What were they doing? Because this whole thing was going on around the world, and you mean to tell me nobody was doing anything about it? And not to go too comic, but that's really the truth. I often have questions. I mean, like, for example, something simple that's always bothered me, and this is a bit of a big spiral off, but technically speaking, we are in the Disney universe thanks to Marvel, but, or Marvel, whichever way you want to tie it together. Maybe you guys can answer this. Because, you know, I watch Pirates of the Caribbean. I watched it for a bit, and I have some random questions on it. I do. And one of the random questions that I have on it is simple, very simple. At one point, I think it's at World's End. I think that's Pirates of the Caribbean 3. A call was sent out to all the pirates to come together, all of them. So if anybody has an answer for this, by all means, please. And what's his name? Blackbeard didn't answer. Like Davy Jones, I get. Giant squid dude, I get. But Blackbeard was supposed to be like a pirate of all the seas and like a pirate lord. So that part kind of always got me on the story. I know that they say like, you know, it's closed, whatever. Either way, the franchise is kind of like finished. But Disney, that bothered me. I just wanted to know where he was. Was he arrested? Was he captured? Did he just say no? I have questions. Disney's not going to answer those questions for me. But maybe people who are fans of the lore could point it out and figure it out and say, like, well, no, that's because of this, or this because of that, or this. Maybe you guys could give me like a breakdown of something. Because I have questions about it, and I would like answers. or just off the top. Yeah, but that's pretty much have been going on. I mean, I've been chilling other than that. I've been just kind of relaxing. So I took 1 week to kind of like relax and kind of hang back and just kind of like chill. May's setting up to be like this really big month. So, you have to make sure, and, I talk to people about this a good amount of time that, like, as hard as you work, you also have to make sure that you take breaks and rest in between. Sometimes we just kind of keep going, 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 going. And I know that it's in pursuant of different things, but the reality of it is you also need rest as well. And so when you know that you have like big challenges or big events upcoming, then, just be sure to take a break. Just make sure that you also punch in those days and breaks to take off because, excuse me, because you do want to be able to go in there and really make sure that you're doing it at your best, So this week, it wasn't a like take off week for me. What it really was is slowed down a little bit more for me kind of week. So while normally I would maybe take on new projects, this week I kind of was just like, hey, I'm kind of I'm okay right now. I'm just going to kind of recharge right now because, honestly, it's going to be a really May's pretty big. May's pretty big right now. So I just kind of wanted to take this month to be like, all right, well, we're down to our last 2 weeks. Any of the additional projects and cool stuff that I'm working on, make sure that they are trimmed and laced out perfectly. And then afterwards, I'm going to move forward and be like, all right, well, it's May. May, I have a couple, like I said, a couple of important assignments that are happening. So that means I have to kind of just like pump the brakes a little bit and say, like, all right, this is where my focus is. And I'm blocking out the schedule and doing all that stuff because, I mean, you also don't want to put like too much on yourself. I see that when it comes to a lot of creators that they throw like a lot on their plate. And sometimes you just have to make sure you're taking a breather and take a break. And that's really what it is. So like today for Friday, for example, like right now, I woke up, just nice simple cup of coffee, relaxed. I did some editing. I have a project printing right now. And usually that's when I do my lives on Friday. I usually have like a project just kind of like chilling. And then I'll do something a little bit out of the norm, just something to feed the creative side, feed the creative energies a little bit, for at least 30 minutes or an hour, something like that, just to kind of like recharge, refill that cup that we're using. And then afterwards, I chill again. You know, you're entitled to take a couple of days off. You're entitled to take a day off. You're entitled to relax and go. What is this? Okay. You see what I'm saying? Anyways, so with that being said, I'm going to thank everybody for jumping in, joining. Shout out to Jack. Shout out to everybody who checked me out on Facebook. It's been pretty good. I know that I had to take a little bit of break between. It's been a very, very interesting 3 weeks. But, I enjoy jumping on Fridays, saying what's up to everybody. I hope everybody's doing good. If you guys have any questions or comments about some of the shows we were talking about, whether it be Daredevil, whether it be The Boys, whether you have an answer to Pirates of the Caribbean, you can just put them in the chat. And then at the same time, if you guys saw Coachella or you saw some of the highlights, tell me what you think. I could easily, easily, easily talk about the Billionaires Club that Bad Bunny did join on Spotify. He killed it. He crushed it. I love reposting the love, to say the least. So, today's a good day. I hope everybody has an amazing Friday. I hope you guys are all doing good and chill. You know, out there getting healthy. I know that it's April. You guys have about 6 weeks till summer really kind of kicks off. If you guys are gonna push for that, summer bod kind of situation, go have your fun. Go do your thing. I'm gonna sit back, drink a little water. I got some grinding to do. My projects are pretty much finished rendering. So it's on to the next one, guys. Everybody have a great morning. It's always good to see. Peace. Mm-mm.